Welcome back, horror fans. Today, I've got a tale that will send chills down your spine. This is the story of the abandoned asylum, a place shrouded in mystery and haunted by the unknown. Picture this: deep in the woods of Pennsylvania, hidden from the prying eyes of society, lies an old decaying asylum. Built in the early 1900s, it was once a bustling facility aimed at treating the mentally ill. But as the years went by, the asylum's reputation became tainted with stories of abuse, neglect, and horrifying experiments. Eventually it was shut down and left to rot. But here's where things get really creepy. Over the years, locals began reporting strange occurrences around the abandoned building. Sightings of ghostly figures in the windows, eerie whispers carried by the wind, and unexplained lights flickering inside. The most disturbing reports, however, came from those brave enough to venture inside. Enter Jake and Lisa, two amateur paranormal investigators. Armed with their cameras and a sense of adventure, they decided to spend a night in the asylum to uncover its secrets. They documented their experience, but what they captured was far beyond what they expected. As they explored the crumbling hallways, they heard footsteps echoing behind them. But every time they turned around, there was no one there. The temperature dropped suddenly, and their breath became visible in the cold air. Then the whispers started, soft at first, but growing louder and more insistent. "Help me," they heard, over and over again. They followed the voice to a locked room. With trembling hands, they managed to force the door open, revealing a small, dark space. In the center of the room was an old, rusted wheelchair, but it wasn't empty. A shadowy figure sat in the chair, its eyes glowing faintly in the darkness. Jake and Lisa froze, unable to move or speak. The figure slowly turned its head towards them and whispered, "You shouldn't be here." Panic set in, and they fled the room, but the asylum seemed to come alive. Doors slammed shut behind them, the walls echoed with haunting laughter, and the air grew thick with an oppressive energy. They barely made it out, but their footage captured it all. When they reviewed the footage later, they noticed something even more chilling. In the background of every shot, there was a shadowy figure always just out of focus. Was it the spirit of a former patient, or something even darker? The asylum remains abandoned to this day, and its mysteries are far from solved. What happened to the patients who were subjected to those cruel experiments? And what malevolent force still lingers within its walls? If you're as intrigued as I am, make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a comment with your theories. And remember, sometimes the scariest things are the ones we can't explain. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next spine-chilling story here on Ghost Story 2.0. End tags, #paranormal activity, #haunted asylum, #unsolved mysteries, #ghost story, #creepy tales, #supernatural, #scary stories, #haunted places, #mystery, #urban legends, #horror stories, #spooky, #haunted history, #true crime, #ghost hunters, #abandoned places, #chilling adventures, #eerie, #dark history, #mysterious events, hashtags, #paranormal, #haunted, #unsolved mystery, #ghosts, #abandoned asylum, #creepy,